welcome back. My name is Iqbal Akhtar here in Miami, and we're very honored to have Tara here with us, who is heading efforts to develop the Bell Chapel here at Florida International University. And she will introduce herself and a little bit about the work that she's currently doing on creating this really remarkable multi-faith space for Miami at a university, kind of a third space, something that's not traditionally sort of understood as the university, not traditionally understood as a place, as a faith-based institution, but having sort of this open, pluralistic space where we can have different types of discussions among different types of students, a place where you can pray, you can explore spirituality, a place where all types of sort of activities that are related to spiritual life and growth occur, and that spiritual life is part of the student experience here at FIU. So we're very honored to have Tara on very short notice coming to join us for this podcast. And I'll turn it over to Tara.
Thank you. I appreciate you inviting me on the short notice still. I'm happy to be here. So my name is Tara Orezoli. I work at FIU Foundation, and I'm a Director of Development for Strategic Initiatives. And my biggest and most important project is the Trish and Dan Bell Multifaith Chapel. If anybody has been on campus and has driven down up into the entrance of 107th and past the Reagan House and just clicked your head to the right, you can't miss it. It's a huge building, and it's gorgeous. It's very eye-catching, and more than that is what the building is going to represent. It is, in fact, exactly what you said. It is a multi-faith chapel, not an interfaith chapel. There is a distinction. It is a multi-faith chapel, which means it is open to everyone. It does not matter what your belief system, what your faith is. If you have no faith necessarily that you ascribe to, you are still welcome. Everyone is welcome. What we do plan to have there, though, are interfaith opportunities, right, whether it's programming or education, courses, seminars, or even just the spontaneous interaction between visitors who come from different faith backgrounds. That is what the chapel is there for. It's to foster and spark that dialogue that is so necessary, I think, today.
Absolutely. Talk to us a little bit about the building's design. What are some of the interesting features, or what makes it unique?
So one of the things that I have tried to research extensively, so I say this with caution, I don't believe that there is another public university in the state of Florida that has built something like this from the ground up with this intention in mind. I think FIU is the first, so way to go, FIU. Right. So the building is designed by Miami-based architects Gray Matute, and it's designed based off of the sacred geometry of nature. So anything that you would see mathematically, repeating in nature, those design elements were put into the chapel. It was done intentionally so that there is not a nod or a focus or a lean to any one religion or any one faith. It's very neutral. It invites everyone, and it really does embody nature. So much that if you look from the aerial view, you can see it a bit when you look at it face on, but from the aerial view, you can see it has been designed in the shape of a fish, which is one of the symbols that we have found represented in many faiths. So it's large. It's about over 18,000 square feet. It has a 3,000 plus square foot sanctuary with no fixed furniture, because it is extremely important that all groups can come and pray or worship in the manner that they choose. So if the Muslim community wants to come and lay their rugs down, they're able to do so. You can't do that with fixed pews or chairs. Right. So there's a lot of storage space in that chapel because of that. So, but there's the sanctuary. It has 2 reflection or prayer rooms for individual prayer, which are separate, attached but separate from the chapel itself by a corridor, so that when the chapel is closed during regular hours, students can still come, use their one card, swipe and get in up to a certain time if they feel the need or they feel the desire to pray.
Wonderful.
Within those individual prayer rooms, as well as in the main bathrooms of the chapel, there are ablution stations so that the Muslim community can
That's
prepare
amazing.
before they pray. It also has an event space. Phase 2, we will have with a prep kitchen. We will also have some spiritual counseling rooms. We have about 3 of those.
Okay.
And we also have a seminar room, so where classes could be held. So it's really a well thought out design, and it's meant to hold many different types of events and really, be there for many different purposes. So phase 2 will be Sacred Gardens. So stay tuned.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Okay, great. Can you tell us a little bit about the background with regards to the Bells and kind of what their initial vision was for this chapel?
So the Bells are wonderful human beings, major philanthropists in South Florida, and they've given to many different causes. When they came to FIU and they were approached with different ways that they could help this community, when they heard that there was not a space for students to come and reflect, to pray, to question, to memorialize, they could not believe it. They were shocked. And immediately, I think Trish kicked Dan under the table, or they kicked each other and said, "This is it. This is what we're doing." And I dare say, I think that if they watch this or if anybody talks to them, I think I'm safe to say this is one of the most important projects that they have ever been a part of. So it's kind of a legacy for them. And I'm really, really eager and excited to have it finished soon so that they can see it. Be a part of it.
So where's it at? Where's the project at right now?
So like I said, when you come into the campus off of 107th and 16th Street, just behind the president's house, the Reagan House, there's the chapel sitting next to it lakeside. Okay. So right across from the Graham Center, that's where you'll see. The road kind of curves gently around there, and that was done intentionally as well. That whole road had to be redesigned and rerouted, which is why it took a little bit of time to get started. But they specifically curved it to make the drive, when you drive past it, feel like you're entering a slower, more spiritual space as well.
Oh, wonderful. Great. I mean, that's a very important part of it. I think just the aesthetics, the architecture, the way that you're able to connect to the environment, I think, is a very important part of spirituality. We were talking a little bit earlier about where Americans are at particularly sort of our students in terms of spirituality, and what are people looking for in terms of spirituality? What are some of the things that you've seen in talking to people about the chapel?
So most of the response I have gotten has been very positive. And I actually was able to spend time in Chicago with an organization called Interfaith America. I know you're aware. Yeah. And was able to speak to a wide range of students from across the country. And it's a similar, I hear the same message echoed. People want a place where, and I think people are ready to not just be tolerant of others' beliefs or religious ideas. They really are looking for respect and understanding. It's okay that we don't agree. It's fine. But rather than tolerate yours, because tolerance can be until I tolerate you till I no longer do. I want to respect that we have a difference of opinions, that maybe culturally you were raised a different way, and that's how your ideas came to be a part of your core. So I think people today are really, really yearning for a deeper sense of spirituality and a deeper sense of community. Learning about how do you celebrate, the religious holidays in December? How do you celebrate Passover, Easter, Lent, whatever it may be, Ramadan? And I think that people are really appreciating seeing those differences.
Yeah. So I think that's something that one of the advantages, we're kind of like now in the maybe third generation in the United States of Americans who have grown up on a model of America that is multicultural, and that believes that there's not just one way of what it means to be an American, but it's very multicultural, and I think the other word that we use a lot is pluralism.
Mhm.
The idea that you can have many different ways of being, and that those are equally valid, and you can learn from each other, and it does that you don't necessarily have to agree with everything, but that you allow there to be a space for the conversation, and that people are allowed to live the best version of their lives. And I think that's really important, and faith is an important part of that. I think one of the other things that we really see is that there's this within religious studies we see what's called the de-churching of America. So a lot of people have left traditional churches. They've been disillusioned for whatever reason, whether it's the Catholic tradition, whether it's the evangelical tradition, and yet at the same time, people want a sense of spirituality, that there is something greater out there. And they also want a sense of community as well. So they want to be able to have fellowship with other people who are like-minded, and especially if they have families, they want to raise children in some sort of moral and ethical framework that's important for them, that's based in a community. And so I think that's something that the chapel might be able to help students with, is to be able to explore other traditions from whatever the tradition they came from. And you have there are many, I mean, Interfaith America is a wonderful organization that helps to allow students to explore that. But a lot of times students will come, to the university, not necessarily thinking very deeply about religion, or just kind of whatever they grew up with. And then they're now, they meet some, a Muslim woman with a hijab, for instance, or they're meeting someone who practices a different religious tradition like Santeria. And so that spurs them to think a little bit more deeply about religion and spirituality in their lives and kind of what that means. So it's not simply about production and consumption, kind of an economic perspective, but there's something greater. And that doesn't necessarily mean conversion either. It doesn't mean that you have to convert to another faith, but simply sometimes even learning about other religious traditions and truth in other traditions strengthens your own understanding of your spirituality.
Absolutely, 100% agree. And I really, talking to you now, I've thought of this, but it really does hit home right now, is that I don't think there is a better place to have those discussions and to really dive into that, other than, besides a higher education institution. This is the time that people, we have students of all ages, but where they are going to question. They're out there learning all different disciplines, and it makes you question your choice of what you want to do in your life. What might make you question. And I think that when you take away the fear and is really from not knowing.
Oh, absolutely.
And when you learn and you get the information firsthand from the woman in the hijab, you realize there are so many more things that we have in common, and so many threads, a thread that connects all of these faiths and all of these religious ideologies, than there are things that separate us.
Absolutely. And I think especially like South Florida is just so religiously pluralistic as well. And so like every major faith community in the world is represented in South Florida, which is remarkable. Just the number of immigrants that are here, and just the way that they've invested in building, whether it's a Hindu temple or the remarkable synagogues that are here, and kind of the history of Jewish Miami, and our Jewish museum that we have. There's just so much religious heritage, I think, that's here. And one of the things that our students really, really enjoy is just being able to visit these places and partake in services. I think that's been something that's really amazing for them. So like if the students will go to a Hindu temple for a puja, and then they're able to partake in the prasad and sort of eat some of the food of the community, that makes a massive impact on people, their perception.
I agree with you. And on a personal level, what you just said makes Miami one of the best places in the world to live. It really is. So you all are lucky. But just being introduced to some of the different ceremonies with my own friends. I have a very close friend who's Hindu, and I've been invited to Diwali, and I've been invited to other ceremonies, and the feeling of welcome and the embrace that I get from her family, and making me a part of the ceremony, having me do
some of the rituals.
The movement. It's literally, I feel such an honor.
Right.
I mean, how can you not be uplifted? And I really think it's important for as many people as possible to have those experiences, because it really does make you feel like you are, a collective, much more than we are just, a divided community.
No, absolutely. I totally agree with that. I mean, do you have any story? Like, what is your spiritual background or your story? If you'd be comfortable in sharing?
Sure. No, I'm an open book. I'm fine. My mother went to Catholic school. Okay. She's Italian, traditional Catholic, nuns and all of the works. And my father grew up pretty much an atheist. Okay. He's now, I believe, agnostic. He's gone to agnosticism, but he was an atheist. So they had 5 children, and they came to an agreement that none of the children would be baptized until they were older and they could decide for themselves. Okay. Needless to say, every one of my sisters and brother did it at the same time. They became baptized, and the religion that they chose, which was Catholicism. Mm-hmm. And I chose not to, because I couldn't latch onto one. Okay. There were so many things in so many of the different traditions that I couldn't commit to one. I said no. So I decided I was just going to be more spiritual than religious. And truly, if I'm being completely honest, once I had my first child, the love that I felt and that kind of connection and magic pushed me to give thanks to something and to commit to something. So I did end up being baptized Catholic, really more for that reason. And it didn't matter to me. Honestly, it was like, to me, I'm talking to everybody. Right. Sure. But I don't really practice. I really have gone back to more spiritual, but not religious. Right. I find that my comfort and my faith is heavily rooted in nature. Mm. And so I follow more seasonal kinds of holidays and religious ceremonies. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that's it's a very important part, to be connected to some sort of spirituality and to give deeper meaning, I think, to our lives, and to just reflect on that, because that's something that, just being in a state of gratitude also, I think, is something that's very helpful in terms of our spirituality, and then also focusing on ethics, right? And so, especially when we have children, how to raise them as good people in some sort of moral and ethical framework. And spirituality definitely helps with that, I think, So that's amazing. And you're originally from Miami as well. I am a native. I'm one of the rare natives left in Miami. And I have 4 kids myself. Okay. And I will tell you that even though they were all baptized Catholic, because my former spouse was Catholic, but every single one of them, they're very spiritual, and they're very, the most important thing is to be kind. Choose what you want to do. Just be kind, with harm to nobody. Just whatever you want to do, make sure it harms no one. Exactly. That's the rule. That's right. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, so growing up here, how has Miami changed from the time that you grew up? It leaps and bounds change. So much. When I grew up, I'm an alum and I graduated, a long time ago. And I don't think we had paved garages back then or parking lots. Mm-hmm. I think we parked out in gravel. And there were just a few trees with the braces that were just being planted. And we didn't have as much I grew up with very, very, in a Latin community. Mm-hmm. My friends were Cuban immigrants. I am honorary Cuban, I'm told by my friends. So my friends were Cuban immigrants. And that was basically the main demographic here. You had, Jewish community, you had the Cubans, and then you had, the natives or the Americans. And now it's just, we have every nationality represented, which is phenomenal, because we have the best food, we have the best music, we have the best entertainment and art. So I left I left in 1997, and I traveled the world with the military.
Okay.
And when I came back, I was stunned. The growth has been exponential. I think that we are, we are one of the most interesting and exciting places to live because of the diversity, because of how many different cultures are represented.
Right.
I mean, the beaches are great too, and the weather's great too.
Right.
But it has changed quite a bit.
Right. Okay. That's great. I mean, yeah, I think that's one of the assets of FIU and, even the chapel is just that it's in a place where there is a tremendous amount of influx of new energy, different types of people. And I think that just gives it a lot of vibrancy to any sort of effort that we're trying to develop here, So I think that's been pretty amazing.
It is. It has been amazing. And I think that FIU is doing a phenomenal job in kind of just responding to that, where I think that what they're doing now is, we are trying to look at students in a more holistic manner.
Right.
So, not just focusing on the academics and the sports, but bringing in the spiritual aspect, because it's all encompassing. I mean, if you, for our international relations students, you want to have good relations with, people from across the globe, you should know something about their faith and their spiritual background. That's going to help you. Yeah. So I think that it's smart. And it's also something that's going to be, I'm hoping that we're role models and trailblazers for other institutions, because it's time, I think, that we add this into the whole student experience.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's something that, I'm really hoping that we're able to get to phase 2 and, finally have it sort of the full vision kind of realized. Are there any, so if anyone's interested in learning more about the chapel, how would they go about learning more about it?
You just give me a call.
Okay.
Or you can email me.
All right.
It's torezzol@fiu.edu.
Perfect.
Or you can call me at 305-348-7429. You can even call my cell if you. I'm sure it's there somewhere.
We'll put it in the show notes.
Yes, just give me a call, or reach out to anybody at the foundation or at Religious Studies, the SIPA, that department. They'll be able to reach you to the person, and I'd be happy to give tours.
Okay, wonderful. Do you guys have a website yet or not yet?
We do.
Okay, perfect.
We do have a website.
Okay, great. So I'll put a link to that as well.
Yes.
And then hopefully, there'll be some events forthcoming pretty soon. Yeah.
I'm hoping, yes. And we're hoping for fall of 2025 we'll be open. So.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Tara. This is a pleasure. Is there anything else you want to say?
Go Panthers.
Okay. All right. Perfect. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Thanks.